Hello, everybody. How's it going? Hello to both of you. Oh, we had 7 for a second, but then 2 people were like, nah. It happens. By popular request, I put the thing up. I should have really just put it up anyway, but you see from the back, you can see the teeth. I don't like it. So I tend to just leave it down. But it does go up. I'm sorry. But I think it just looks better without it showing the teeth. We'll just go over this guy real quick. There's like a minor arrival that we should discuss in a minute, but we'll get through this real quick. Oops, I'm sorry about my camera. We'll turn him into a truck. So put the head away and put these up and bring these around. Helps to kind of get these out of the way a little bit. Bring this up, and then this kind of flips over, and there's like a little button there. If you can line it up, so it should look like that. Flip this up, and then I like to rotate this over 180 degrees. Now it's ready, and we'll do that over here. La-di-da-di-da. It's a retail figure. It's not very complicated. There we go. Alright. We can straighten the legs out a little bit here. Put them together. And this flips up. Now it goes like this for truck mode, but it goes like this for head mode. But we'll get to that. And the knees flip down. So because it goes to 2 different positions, there are holes for each of the positions. So you got the truck mode hole and the head mode hole. We're just going to make sure the truck mode hole grabs that pin. Then there's another pin in the back. And it kind of tabs along all down the side there. So do the same thing here. So make sure everything starts to line up. And then there's a couple of tabs. That's why I like to leave the mixer open so I can see these tabs to get them to tab together. And then the feet can go here. It's a lot easier if the mixer's up. You can just put the feet away like that instead of having them kind of in the way the whole time. So we tab the mixer together, flip this out. There's on a double armature here. And the whole thing kind of comes down and tabs in. Straighten out the stacks. Boom! You got yourself a mixer truck. Congratulations. So if we want to go to head mode, what we're going to do is this still goes away. We separate all this. This is something you didn't get to see before. Going to head mode directly from truck mode. The feet actually kind of stay here for truck mode, but you do expand the legs for head mode. Here we go. And remember, the whole thing creeps down a little bit. These tend to get in the way at that point, so it's a good idea to go ahead and turn them around. The whole thing angles downward. And now this is going to lock into that other hole. And then all this tabs back together. Now this goes on the outside, so we need to transition it to the outside. Same thing over here. The outside. And then we can bring it all back together. It all tabs together here. Tab, 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 tab. And this stays in this position. These just kind of hang down. This whole thing goes like that. Then the front of the truck, it's a parts former. But I like to turn it around this way. You could do it either way, but I don't know. Something about the aesthetics of doing it in this direction, and I think this is the official way. But you just kind of tab this in. It kind of holds everything still too, so it's nice. And then overload's going to come with that part that kind of goes over the top. The leg here has a little bit of a groove. Can we see that? So there's the groove. And it goes on a pin that's on this freewheel. And you just have to make sure it actually tabs in there. That's going to fall off, so we'll just leave it. So that tabs in there, and then you bend the leg a little bit and tab it in there. Same thing over here. Let's put the truck thing back on. It'll probably fall off again, and I'm just gonna have to live with that. So it helps to spread these out a little bit, lift this up, pull out these parts here, flip out the head, and then close this back down, flip out the head ornaments on either side and lock it in, and you got this mode. My saturation's a little off here, so I'm just gonna make it red because it's supposed to be a drab red. How about there? Reds really come across poorly on webcams. I always have trouble with reds, taking pictures of reds, and not with the DSLR downstairs. It handles red response properly, but everything else is kind of a compromise. And then when you attach them to the other thing, you have to, there's like big holes in the interior of the wheels here that go over the big pegs on Scrapper or Scavenger. And then these clips here plug onto ports on Scavenger. But we'll probably go over that someday when I finish the Scrapper video and the Overload video, once I get Overload. And then there'll be the final combination. It probably won't be a separate video. I'll probably just do Overload and then have it combine. So. But why, you may ask, why am I making room? Why am I making room? And we'll catch up on some comments here. Hello there. Message retracted. Oh. General Kenobi, Devastator 1. Good job. Movie Mixmaster has found a way to incorporate the cab into the robot body yet. Yeah, don't get me started. Well, no, I haven't. I've shot everything except I haven't done Scrapper, which is the right arm of Devastator. I have it, but I haven't done it yet. And then Overload I don't have yet, but that's like the hips and thighs of Devastator, and then it can all come together. All right. So what's going to go here? What's my new arrival? Does anyone know? Does anyone follow? Does anyone pay attention? I'll tell you a story. This item landed in New York City on the 19th of June. On the 19th. It was agonizing. And then it sat in customs for like 10 days. And on the 10th day, the tracking stopped working entirely. SF Express decided that the tracking number wasn't even valid anymore. So I called them up and they were like, nah, it's fine. It's in customs. And I was like, all right, if you say so. And then I checked the next day and it had like a new update where it had been it looked like it was just transferred to customs again. New York Gateway or whatever. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then I got word that there was a USPS tracking number. So I was like, I'll track that. And that was today. And it said, oh, it's out for delivery today. So somehow the thing teleported from New York to Virginia and got delivered today, unexpectedly. So, let's take a look. It won't fit on screen. Boom. There you go. It's going to be quite a challenge to shoot this on the turntable, But let's just pan up a little bit. Let's pan up. There he is. I have waited 36 years for a proper Unicron figure. And here they finally have one. I mean, Armada Unicron was okay. But this is so much better than the HasLab crowdfunded one. You guessed right, by the way, Tech Vibe 5. You guessed right. Oh, we bring in some chaos. Except it's very orderly. I mean, if anything, the HasLab one is more the chaos one, since apparently they designed it chaotically. But look at this. I don't know if you've seen pictures of the back of the HasLab one, because they're embarrassing. But let's look at the back. Let's look at the back of this guy. Let's see how kibbly he is. There's a little, you can see a little bit of the planet on the back of his calves. But not like the stack of potato chips that the HasLab one has. So. It's interesting, he's kind of symmetrical because the back is kind of exactly the same as the front. It relates to how he transforms in a way. But there he is. And, you know, all the promotional pictures don't show the head or the wings, but the head and the wings totally come with it in a separate box. You know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's in a separate box. Don't worry about it. Just got them unpacked and sorted out, so I haven't really messed with them yet. Looking forward to working out the transformation and also the logistical challenge of putting that on a turntable that suddenly seems a little too small for anything. We can talk about a few accessories since we're here. Let's just... It comes with these. Whatever. They plug into these like this. So it's like a blast of reconfiguration energy or whatever. It comes with some instructions. And notice the instructions don't show the head. It shows like the weird no head version of them. It comes with alternative plates for the forearms and the upper shoulders. These are gray, but in planet mode that makes it a little too much gray, so he's got his orange plates to make them look better in planet mode. I'll probably just leave it like that. It comes with a collector card. Sell. Same sort of goofy cartoon is on the front of the box too. It comes with sprues that you have to snap off your own little spikes to put on his forearms and stuff. I saw a video the other day where someone was doing that, so I'll probably follow that to make sure I get the right ones in the right place. And then same thing, I saw a video the other day explaining where to put all the these are screw covers. So they saved a little money on production by just giving you the screw covers and you figure it out. Comes with a screwdriver too for some reason. But, you know, there's a screw cover that would go there and there and there and there and all over. So there's screw covers to apply. Make them a little more aesthetic. And that's it. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into this because I'll be discussing it at length next Wednesday. How heavy is it? It's... I don't know, it's like the heaviest thing that I've gotten from Shozi, so the shipping was more expensive than usual because it was a big heavy box to send all the way across the world through via air. They say they have a new cheap, like free shipping method that's by ship and can take like 30 days just for the ship, which is no surprise because, you know, it takes a while for a ship to sail all the way across the Pacific Ocean, but yeah, Orson Welles was the voice actor for one of his last performances was Transformers movie. He probably didn't even know what the hell was going on. They just had him say stuff. I mean, what's he know about Transformers? They also got the great Leonard Nimoy, Dr. Spock, to play the Galvatron. Unlike the live-action movies, they made use of Frank Welker for at least a little bit. Those bastards. And, of course, you know, the great Peter Cullen. But it's pretty dope. Looking forward to it. It turns into a very good sphere. You can see some indications of it, like here. This flips out, and this flips out, and this flips out. So you can see we have some sphere bits hidden away in the piece here, in the leg panel, the skirt panels. So pretty clever use of tucking away the sphere bits. Very good job they did hiding all the sphere bits in various places around them. Very good job. The Hasbro designers should, you know, take some notes and go back to the drawing board and bother designing it properly. Apparently it takes Zeta or Toy World or, you know, whoever the parent company is. Yeah, it really is cartoon accurate. It's just nuts. It's so good. It's just exactly what you'd want. It's interesting. You can even see in the armpits, there's some pretty heavy-duty spring and hat screw here for the arms, because the arms are pretty nice tight joints. There's like butterflies here, so you can spread his arms out if you need to a little bit to do different poses, which is nice. I'm just paranoid this thing's gonna keel over backwards. I mean, I have a towel down there folded up to catch things if they fall off here, but something this big, it wouldn't be perfect. He could break a horn or something, you know, it would suck. So I'm just trying to give him a forward-leaning bias. At least I can catch him from this direction better. Oh, Lila. Yeah, this guy definitely deserves support for being just awesome. So much better than the Hasbro one. I mean, people were like, "Oh, it's not big enough." I'm like, "Well, I mean, Unicron would be like the size of like Ceres or maybe even our own moon if it was to scale. So it'll never be to scale." So I long said I want a sphere bot that turns into a proper Unicron, and I don't care what the scale is. They could have made a liter size figure, and I would have been fine. I want a clever sphere transformation. And here we got it. And it's, you know, it's impressively big. Just not, you know, crazy city bot big like the HasLab one. Yeah, it's real nice. I haven't handled it much yet, so I don't know. It'd probably be rude to have him flipping people off, but I can give him like the rock and roll devil horns. Look. Yeah, rock and roll. Well, I mean, there is an Optimus Prime that turns into a PlayStation. So, it's pretty dope. Pretty big deal. Pretty cool thing to have. I got a pretty good deal on it. I paid for my pre-order before the price went up, so I got it for the original price. Undisclosed. But that rustling is, I'm just trying to get the little spike pieces out. I'm kind of curious what they look like out of the bag. So they're on sprues. There's angled ones, and then there's straight ones. And there's longer ones and shorter ones. So it's something to figure out. I need to get some cutters. Find my cutters. Here's a bunch of little short ones. Are they the same as these short ones? No. So they're all different. It's a little confusing. Like I said, I saw a video where someone was like installing these, so it should be fairly obvious. Plus the number of pieces. This one's about to fall off, but the number of pieces can probably give away where they're supposed to go. Because I imagine there's a number of them that go on the forearms. That makes sense. And then the angled ones go somewhere. These weird little... I don't think I've been holding them up high enough. I forgot I aimed my camera up. But I was talking about these. It's a hanging Chad! Oh, it lost it finally. There's the short ones. So I got my work cut out for me to put all the little things on and figure out how to transform it. I think I'll play around with transforming it before I put any of the crap on so that I don't lose the crap, lose the little spikes and stuff. Maybe put the spikes on planet mode to see the final effect, how it looks, but I don't need those on until I finish working with the transformation. The instructions look fairly reasonable, logical. It's not a terribly complicated figure. It's not like insane complicated, so it shouldn't be too bad to sort out the transformation. But yeah. It's like Hasbro with Armada Unicron and also with the more recent HasLab Unicron. They have this fetish where they're like, oh, we're going to take both legs and then we're going to just fold, we're going to put the legs together and then fold them up and that'll be like half the planet. It's not very smart. Because, you know, you end up with a rectangle that you're trying to turn into a planet, and that's why they needed so many shells to round it out. Whereas this one, you turn the hips 90 degrees, and one leg goes in the front, and one leg goes in the back, and from the top it would look kind of like a T, so there'd be the shoulders and then the legs, and it's a little easier to fill in that shape. So, and just like, look at this like red panel. All this shell comes out of the shoulders. That's shoulder parts. So the shoulders have like all kinds of, just like the hips I showed you, the shoulders are all folded up. Super clever. It's kind of fun that it ends up in this mode too, because that's so reminiscent of that original like prototype Unicron that they showed pictures of. That was just, woo, boy was that thing crappy. A size comparison with other figures. Well, I mean, okay. We'll just angle it up to get his best view. But this is Studio Series Mixmaster. This is Mixmaster at about the height that he would be when he's combined. Somewhere around there. I don't have many, like, relatable figures with me at my desk here. I mean... Here's like a Marvel Black Widow. Not very big compared to Unicron. She can sit on his shoulder. I wish I had like one of my Siege figures here or something. I could give you a better recent comparison. But he's big. He's a big boy. He's in a slight A stance here, and he is just over 18 inches tall in an A stance, and I imagine if I pulled his legs together, he'd be closer to 19 inches tall to the top of the horns. If you're in Canada, I don't know what that is in, you know, like syrups per beaver, but yeah, it's just nuts to me. I think the Hasbro one is just awful. I don't like it at all. It's sloppy, lazy engineering. Yeah, Hasbro blew it, because this is an MP Unicron. The Hasbro one is like in the Siege style, with the Siege decor and the Siege hollowness. It's not even intended to be a masterpiece. And here, you know, masterpiece Unicron. Total masterpiece. God, I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad it came as early in the week as it did, or otherwise I might have had to skip it, because, I mean, it's going to take a little time to figure out the logistics of this. Hopefully all the hinges are fairly tight, so I don't have to, like, glue tighten them. Devil Savior? Devil Savior will be bigger. Devil Savior might be about the size of this guy when it's done. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. I still haven't decided if I want to follow through on it. I mean, that first one, Split, was a real hassle. And real... Like, the legs, they were like, oh, we want the lower jaw of Devastator to turn into the legs. So the legs are like these skinny, insanely... It can't even stand properly. And I'm like, oh, God, is this what the other ones are going to be like? But, I don't know. Split is a particularly challenging thing to do. Or, you know, Mixmaster from the movies is particularly challenging, especially if you're trying to do that fourth mode where it turns into a gun emplacement. So they had their work cut out for them, but it was a difficult figure. I mean, I'll probably get the whatever the next one is, and if that one is equally as irritating to transform, I might just give up on that line. See you later. Yeah, he does. He comes with the wrecking balls. The wrecking balls. That's pretty funny. I think that one of those add-on companies is gonna, like Dr. Wu or whatever, coming out with wrecking balls for the Studio Series Devastator. I'm pretty sure. I'm just releasing all these screw covers. I'm fascinated. I want to put the screw covers on, but I don't know where they go. God forbid. Listen, ant. Sorry, buddy. You crawl on my desk, you end up dead, buddy. I hate ants. Tiny little screw covers. They go somewhere. Be a challenge. It's real big. There's a lot of my setup that I'm gonna have to like edit out. I don't know how that'll come across. Might just go back to the old school. If you look at the older videos, I didn't bother editing out like the edge of the turntable. Just fuck it. But I hope he kind of holds himself up in all the positions. I'll have to figure out the best positions for him to hold himself up. I want to rotate his leg out a little bit more. Well, that's nice. That's not a ratchet joint. Sometimes people put too many ratchet joints on their figures, and it makes it harder to pose them. It's like you get choice of one or the other, and that's it. But yeah, I've seen pictures of him posed up. He can do like superhero landing, kind of. I don't know, there's not many figures that can really do superhero landing. They don't have the right articulation in the waist. Demolisher? Which one's Demolisher? Demolisher? I didn't know that was one of the figures in... Are you talking about like Scavenger? The upper body? Because I know that one... The Scavenger and Long Haul are the ones that are closest to completion according to their photographic evidence. No, the problem is if I use the theme from the movie, then the people that made the theme for the movie will get all the revenue for the video. I'd love to use, for example, Power Glove gave me permission to use their Transformers theme, and I used it in a couple of early videos. But if you look, those videos are demonetized, and they get all the revenue for those videos. There's like the older Megatron videos. I used Power Glove, and the original Optimus Prime MP10, I used the Power Glove song, and I got permission for them. I wrote to them and got permission from them, but the whole thing's just automated. So like their publisher says, "Oh, this is our song, so now we're going to get the money for this video, and you don't get the money because we made the song." So there's a lot of rights that the song people get. So if I use if I don't use the YouTube stock songs, then I don't get to monetize my video, and I'm sorry, I'm going to monetize my video. Okay, so you were talking about Scavenger. Good. Scavenger and Long Haul are the ones that are next. And, you know, based on like when color photos were released, Scavenger should be the next one, but I've heard rumors that Long Haul's like on the cusp of being released. So maybe it's Long Haul next and then Scavenger, but I don't know, that thing will be a challenge. Yeah, they really, I mean, I even wrote to Ethan Mikesell about using any of his other songs because, you know, he's made other songs, just not songs that he put on YouTube. And, you know, he basically said, yeah, you know, just make sure you credit me and stuff. But it's like if I do it, his publisher's just going to automatically yank the monetization from my video over to themselves. You know, because he made a song. So clearly my video is mostly about his song, right? So it's a pain in the ass. It's just easier to use the free to use songs that have already been negotiated, and that way I don't lose my monetization to somebody else just because they wrote a song. I mean, not to say that Ethan Mikesell doesn't do a great job with his songs, but unfortunately I can't use any of his other material that he's released since then because he didn't make it free on YouTube. And I don't feel like having some fight with YouTube about like, hey, these guys gave me permission, you know. I don't feel like having a copyright fight with people about that. Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize someone had already done the or had already gotten their hands on a pre-release of the Long Haul, so I'll have to check that out. That might give me I mean, you're saying it looks like it's not as crazy, so that might give me a good indication that I'm on the right track by continuing with that line. Because I tell you what, that split, that Mixmaster, I ain't ever going to... It's in head mode right now, and it's going to be in head mode for the rest of its existence. You're like, oh, you're not going to transform them all back to vehicle mode and get like a group shot with them all in vehicle mode or a group shot with them all in robot mode? No, I'm never going to touch that split again. I hate it. And, you know, I'm pretty good with transformers, and I could do it. I could transform split again. I made an instructional video that I could follow myself, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to touch it anymore. Yeah, it's nuts. I have permission to use the Power Glove song, but I don't even know what method I would use to tell YouTube, hey, I got permission for this. I mean, maybe it's as simple as forwarding them the email chain where I asked for permission and they gave me permission, but I just don't want to get into the fight. It's so much easier just to use the allowed songs and not worry about it. And the Mikesell songs that I've been using are good songs. They're all good. They're cool. There's nothing wrong with using them. Yeah, I'm going to have to go and transform this guy. I do it on camera, but I'm not going to. It's like at arm's length. It would be such a pain in the ass. Besides, basically I'm committed to showing that off next week. So next Wednesday, I'm going to have this thing in like planet mode, and I'm going to have to show it transforming into robot mode. Although I suppose for people getting this, they're going to be more interested in getting robot to planet, but that'll be in the stop motion. I always like to end on the mode that I'm going to display it in. That way I can just go put it on display. I'm going to have to think of a spot for him in my display cabinets. He's a big one. There might be an old combiner like Warbitron that's going to have to like get moved out. I really like those Mikesell. I'm so glad I found those. I basically did a search on the YouTube royalty-free library. I did a search for metal, and I found those songs. And as soon as I found his name, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for all the songs that have that. So I have like a whole folder that's all the songs that I can use. And a lot of times I just pick the song based on the length so that it matches the length of the main part of the video, and then sometimes I'll squeeze the video a little bit to make it fit the song. And that's why a lot of times the song actually ends on longer videos. You have a song that actually comes to an end. Plus, it's the same reason I use, I'll tell you exactly what. Because you'll find that I use this song a lot on the more complicated figures. Hold on. I have this song. First of all, it's a really cool song. So that's one reason to use it. That's the one that's called Pride Before the Fall. But it's also the longest song that I have from him. So it's 3 minutes and 44 seconds. And so on the longer videos, you'll find that song used a lot because it's one of the longest songs I have. The second longest song, let's have a little fun with this. This one is called March On. It's got a nice little roll to it. You've heard that before, I'm sure. Can you hear me over that? I think you can. And then there's By the Sword, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Good song. So, there's a bunch of songs that are cool like that. But when I do a really simple video, so a lot of times I can find like a shorter song that'll actually work for that video. Yeah, Pride Before the Fall's the longest song, but it's also arguably the best one. So, my favorite part about Pride Before the Fall, I guess I'm not going to leave this topic right away. So that's this song. Shout out if you can't hear me talking over it. I never know if you can. But the best part of this song is if you can get it to line up. Can't find my player. I'm skipping ahead. Yeah, this is the part. So right here. I like to have the turnaround, like the robot turnaround end right here. Right there. So a lot of times I'll contrive to have the video, like have the robot turn around, you know, nah, nah. I like that. I like that bit. That's actually happened accidentally a couple of times, and then I started kind of making it happen. But there's a certain level of complexity that'll actually line up with that pretty well. I think Ultra Maximus, my Ultra Maximus video, lines up, and I think that might have been one of the accidental ones where it accidentally lined up. I think I got MPM 4 Optimus Prime to line up at that point in the song, which is kind of cool. But it's very dramatic. Nah, nah. It's the right time for something cool to happen. Yeah, I'll be shooting him this Sunday. I mean, it's Wednesday. I think I have enough days to figure out the logistics of this. Like I said, he's not complicated. But the hardest part is going to be figuring out how to get him to, like, stay while I'm moving things. Like, this won't be too bad. So you just wait for him to stop shaking. Something like that. But there's other parts that'll be a little trickier. But it'll transform out. So it shouldn't be too bad. All the joints I've experimented with so far have been fairly stiff. I even played with this chest here because it has like armatures, which I know I criticize with fan toys. But the problem with fans toys armatures, because I've given it some thought, it's not so much that they use armatures, it's just that their armatures are made out of die cast and are flimsily attached to each other, so it's like loosey-goosey. And so you have to basically, fans toys I find you have to lay the figure down just to do things. There's very few fans toys I've handled where I didn't have to just ultimately lay the figure down and point the camera down at it. One of the worst examples being the fans toys Rouge. But their RC was just terrible. Like it was very flimsy. Like at the halfway point of transformation, the whole thing will just flop all over the place. And I don't think that's very good. That's right, I'm going to take him out in my backyard and shoot this very expensive figure just to piss people off. No, shoot him with a camera, you know. I think Lila knows better, though. I think she's just kidding. Anyway, this video where I didn't have much to discuss turned into a 40-minute video, so that works out. Hey, let's compare. He's in crab mode, but we can at least get the fingers. Look at that. So this is the hand from, or half the crab. Half the crab from the, what's it called? Kang Toys Predaking. And you can tell he has bigger hands than, it's a bigger hand than this. So I suspect Kang Toys, I mean, just based on hand scale, Kang Toys Predaking is probably going to be a little bigger than this guy. But like I said, I don't care. I want a Unicron that's big. Doesn't have to be super big. Doesn't have to be unreasonably big. But I want a Unicron that transforms cleverly into a sphere. And this is the one. This is the one that does that. Just amazing. So looking forward to this. I mean, this is definitely one that you take off the shelf once in a while, just to show that it does turn into a sphere, like magic. I've done the Silverbolt shark, yeah. I mean, you've seen my Silverbolt video, and it's got these, you know, long rods, and they're, you know, they're just loosely hinged with a pin through the die-cast parts, so it's just very floppy. And you'll notice in the Silverbolt video, I had to just lay the son of a bitch down and shoot it flat for part of it, because it just won't hold the position. My ideal transformer, and you know, a lot of times these guys will kind of hit that mark, the cheaper ones, because they're lighter and smaller too. But just something with friction joints, at least friction joints, where, you know, I just, even before I was doing stop motion, part of the inspiration to do the stop motion was I would kind of get obsessed. I would be sitting on the couch and I would kind of transform something where I would be like, you know, just kind of testing out like if it would hold each position, you know. This is even before it occurred to me to do stop motion. I was just doing shit like that where I would be like, you know, just kind of imagining it transform, like this is the next step. This is the cleanest way to do it, kind of OCD stuff. And of course, you can imagine that translates to stop motion pretty well. See you later, Lila. Am I unfamiliar with the unreleased G1? Yes. Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. The halfway point of this guy kind of looks like the G1. It's reminiscent of the G1 toy, because that's how the G1 toy looked. It was just kind of goofy. It's heinous. It's hard to decide, though. Like, is the G1 toy or the new HasLab Unicron a lazier design? You know? Because the G1, they at least have the excuse that it was, like, way back in the day, and they didn't know any better. Bye. Oh, the silver ones can pop out? All right, well, I'll keep an eye out for it. I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, I don't want to lose those, do I? He's like leaning forward like a little too much, so it just makes me nervous. Stop. Just shh. I'll probably get used to how to get him to stand better, too. Anyway, I can smell dinner, so it's about time for me to sign off. I appreciate everybody stopping by. It's been a hoot. Let's see, viewer activity, analytics. Looks like I got up to as high as... almost got to 16. I got to 15 concurrent viewers at one point. It's mostly been holding steady at 8, so I appreciate the 8 of you that have been hanging around. And that's the whole story for now. I will look for this on Sunday if I don't get hit by a bus. And I think Silverbolt demands a Dragoon-style transformation. His robot mode never had any clear kibble, so he might as well just be a black magic-y design. Yeah. I know Unique Toys did a combiner, which is the, what do you call them? The monster bot combiner. But I think that's before they really had their magic going. And plus it turns in, you know, it like turns from a monster into a robot into a limb. And it's kind of hard to say if it's wrong. I'd love to see what Unique Toys would do with a combiner, but I feel like the MMC Bruticus is kind of a glimpse of how a perfect combiner could be done. that MMC is coming along real nice. Yep. Video on Sunday. We'll discuss this next Wednesday. I'll be on call, so maybe I'll get interrupted in the middle of that discussion. But should be fun. Everyone have a good night, a good weekend, and we'll catch up with you can maybe join the premiere, the live premiere on Sunday. He's not complicated, so I don't think it'll take long to shoot unless I run into a lot of logistical challenges getting it to stand up or something. Anyway, good night.